All right. Good morning, Mr. Grapperhaus. Thank you for joining me on the 27th episode of One to Come Up, a podcast where aspiring entrepreneurs can learn from the best of the best. It is on Forbes 30 under 30, and to see what it takes to make it, and to see what innovation and passion is leading the world. So thank you for joining me on the podcast today.
Thank you so much, Danny, and thanks also for wishing me good afternoon because it's indeed afternoon on our side of the ocean.
Perfect. Yeah, it's difficult when we're splitting these time zones like this, but we're making it work. So before we start the podcast, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself so we kind of are on the same footing here?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Ferdinand Grapperhaus. I'm an engineer by education. I was in applied physics. I really loved quantum mechanics, engineering, but also more like of the pioneering part of it. For the last 12 years, I've been an entrepreneur, first in hardware, later on in software, but always in the energy transition, focused on having an impact. I have three young kids, 6, 4, and 1 years old, together with my wife Leonore, and we actually, mm, I these are a motivator for what I'm doing today, but especially for what I will still be doing in the coming years, and that is using my brain to turn technology into business and have an actual impact on society in a positive way.
Wow, that's an awesome mission that I'm excited to learn about here. So normally I like to start the podcast with your time in college. So what drew you to physics, and how was your college experience before you started Physee?
Yeah, wow. What drew me to physics? Well, first of all, I, in hindsight, am more able to connect all the dots, right? Famous words of Steve Jobs. Um, and the dots I've connected so far that I have the tendency to take the difficult route. So when I was looking at studies in Delft, you had all kinds of studies and technical business studies or civil engineering, systems engineering, naval engineering. And everybody kept on saying that physics, applied physics, was the most difficult one. And that was really, you needed to do proper math. So I just chose the most difficult one to be challenged, to challenge myself. And I could always sort of, I don't want to call it downgrade, but I don't know, take it a bit more easy from there on. But I thought it would be difficult the other way around. So I went for the most difficult choice. And then also over the course of studying physics, I fell in love with mathematics. I fell in love with physics as a analytical course. It's been super difficult, but I really loved and enjoyed it. And that's also going into entrepreneuring. Well, when I founded my first business, it was a hardware sustainable technology within real estate. And I think all those three, again, show my tendency towards difficult choices because hardware is hard, sustainability is a challenge, and real estate is slow. So there's my next challenge. And over the course of the last 12 years, I started to really fall in love with innovating in this space.
Yeah, but oftentimes that is the correct path. The hard way is the right way. So yeah, so I understand from my understanding at least, Fizzy was kind of the technology behind Fizzy was part of a research project that you discovered while you were at TU Delft. So could you I guess explain the research project there and the discovery what that was?
So it all started with curiosity-driven research. I was doing a thesis in the research group Fundamental Aspects of Materials and Energy. And we were studying the absorption and emission properties of certain rare earth elements that had, yeah, very specific, well, let's say light emitting and absorption properties. And while studying this, we came to the realization that with certain elements, we could make a coating that in a quite transparent way, can uh, absorb light and then re-emit light towards sides of a window pane where solar cells can convert it into electricity. So we sort of by combining various technologies, let's say the technology of a solar cell, the technology of a luminescent coating, and the technology of total internal reflection, so light that travels towards glass, we actually came up with the concept of a power window. And in our understanding, a power window was a window which is transparent and can generate electricity from incoming solar radiation. So we patented the technology, we started a business, we filed for some first subsidies later on, we raised our first capital, all in the first year after graduating.
That's pretty cool. So where did you make that decision to go from research to actual commercial product and entrepreneurship?
If you've made your choices till a certain point on the basis of the like what is the biggest challenge at that point in time, it sounds pretty cool, but it is also a sign of lack of knowing what you actually want or where you actually want to go, or and that has led me to the stage or phase where when I was getting towards the end of my studies in physics, you get hunted. No, hunted is the wrong word, hunted by strategy consultants, private equity companies, tech companies, etc. And they all want you to come and work for them. And I didn't have a clue what to do. So on one side, I thought maybe, I don't know, I'll join one of these McKinseys or BCGs or whatever. And on the other side, during this research, it became more and more clear that there was also this once in a lifetime opportunity that later on really turned out to be the stepping stone into my entrepreneurial career to join some pitching opportunities for our technology, to join some startup competitions. And I took that route. And then from there on, it became more motivating and inspirational over time. And now I'm 12 years later still doing what I love most,
That's pretty amazing.
entrepreneuring.
That's pretty amazing when you can find that once in a lifetime opportunity and you recognize it and you run with it. Um,
Yeah. And also once in a lifetime opportunities are always only in hindsight once in a
yeah.
lifetime, because you can't take more of them, at least in a certain period of time. So it's not only recognizing that it is a once in a lifetime opportunity as is, it is also turning something into a once in a lifetime opportunity.
I like that little bit extra there that you added. So it's interesting. You gave a TED talk sometime in 2019. That's pretty cool. But you
Yeah.
talked about your go-to-market strategy. How initially you went to these big manufacturers, and then you went to you applied for grants and you got all these seals of excellence. And but it was very difficult with your go-to-market process. So can you describe that time for you and how you navigated it all?
Yeah, well, that's been a while ago. So we further evolved the business over time. So we by then we first were making hardware, electricity generating windows. It was extremely difficult to get through a very consolidated industry, where four players, large glass manufacturers, own 80% of the global market. And due to all those difficulties and challenges, but also by selling some initial projects to clients, we started to listen to the market and to realize what they actually wanted. And I learned over time that you should always fall in love with the problem and not your own solution. And the problem I fell in love with is actually solving the energy transition, focusing on real estate, because buildings consume 40% of the global energy consumption. Half of that comes from buildings in production, and half of that comes from buildings in operations. So that's the problem I fell in love with. The solution I had first was a hardware electricity generating window. But now, 12 years later, we don't do any hardware anymore. I run a software company. We work for in more than 20 countries worldwide. We work for Microsoft. We work for Amazon, Chanel, ING, Allianz. We work for all kinds of blue chip companies. And we help them save energy by optimizing their installations using our algorithms and AI, to reduce the energy consumption in their real estate portfolios, in their buildings. And that's that has been a major shift from what I did originally to what I'm doing now and we are doing now. But yet again, yeah, if you want to make a successful business, you do have to look at where is the scalability, where is the product market fit, and yeah, how can you best execute on both that scalability and product market fit. And that's why now we are running a software business that is actually focused on having a positive impact in on the environment.
That's pretty awesome. I actually didn't know that Nextsense was only software and no longer hardware.
Yeah.
Because so can you talk about Physee as well? Because from was that entirely hardware and was that always the
Yeah,
power?
so Physee was entirely hardware.
How
So that was our
scaling?
first company that was focused really on first electricity generating windows. And then it evolved into smart windows. And those smart windows evolved into a smart skin for a building. So we evolved, but it was always hardware in or related to glass. But then over time, the clients that were buying our products in their facade started to ask more data questions. So they didn't only want to know the data of the glass or the facades, they also wanted to know the data of the internal rooms, the meeting rooms. They wanted to know the data or information of their building management systems or how the building was running and operate. So over time, we started to go in with our tech more and more into the data component into their buildings. And at a certain point, we were like, okay, our biggest added value is helping clients by understanding the data of their building, by optimizing their energy consumption. And we actually don't need that much hardware additionally in the building facade for it any longer. So we went where the demand was while sticking true to having a positive impact on the energy transition.
And it sounds like you've made that work because I was looking at some of the next sense business stats, and you really took off with revenue and profit and sales. So
Yeah.
how's that that merger and this transition? How has that really enabled you to capture all these?
Yeah, so we were always operating from a company brand called Physee, but over time, especially if you've made some waves and some traction here and there, then and if you're then pivoting, people will always continue to connect, yeah, your offering to what they remember from your company name. So over time, we said, okay, it's time to rebrand, and we had several product offerings, and then we said our software in buildings is really a sensory system for buildings. So we call it Sense by Physee because, yeah, that's what we did. And then over time, when that really took off, yeah, we left out the whole by Physee part. It really became Sense. And then only 2 years ago, we did a merger with a another real estate software company. They were called Edge Next, and they were a subsidiary of Edge Technologies. And then when we combined their monitoring software and our simulation software, we can actually offer clients monitor and control. So then we said it's Nextsense. So that's how the brand evolved over time. And now for the last 2 years, we've been operating under the brand name of Nextsense. We've been serving clients, like I mentioned before, um, with on one
Microsoft.
side a monitor, yeah, Microsoft, Amazon, but as well Siemens or ING. And we've been monitoring their buildings for them. And on top of that, we've been improving their buildings with both our expertise of analyzing data and our machine learning algorithms, which know very well how to improve the performance of buildings.
So speaking of these performance, what energy reduction levels are you seeing? Because
Between 20 to 40%, it really depends on which modules our clients go for with us, but as well depends on the state of their buildings. So sometimes we end up with a contractor or a client that wants that has quite old buildings, right? And if you have very old buildings and outdated technology, well, there's a lot of low-hanging fruit that we can do. So we can very easily save 20% of the total energy consumption with old buildings. without any capex investments. This is just software. Um, uh, However, there's also a cap, right? You can get to about 20% energy savings, and that's about it. If you have more modern buildings, you have more opportunity to also control and optimize different settings and set points in those buildings. So then again, we easily get to the 20%. And then if a client says, okay, we're now happy with the 20%, we want to go beyond, then we say, okay, you have to um, let's activate our AI module. And then our AI module starts to control the heating, the ventilation, the air conditioning, the light, blinds, etc. And then you can save another 20% on the total energy consumption. So we save about 40% in total.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So speaking of all this AI stuff, I mean, this AI is really taking off. It's pretty incredible. I just started following it myself, and I started using products like Cursor and Windsurf to develop these apps, and I
Okay.
mean, with these MCPs and whatever. What do you think of this whole AI boom as well? I know it's kind of an open-ended question, but
Yeah. First of all, I think it really is a two-sided coin.
yeah,
Is that that's an actual expression in US,
yeah,
right?
it is. No, it's a two-sided coin, two-sided sword,
Um,
two-sided sword.
Two-sided sword. Maybe that's even better a better way to put it. So in Dutch, it literally is you say two-sided coin, but well, listeners will understand. You will understand. On one side, this is actual progress. Finally, right? I think the world has become too complex for us ourselves to still optimize and manage certain elements or to get to certain levels of quality or efficiency. Or we can really use AI not only in business efficiencies, right? So every company nowadays should use AI in business efficiency by making sure that their team members can actually perform their work better, more easily, so they can be less stressed, they can focus on their core task and really have AI take over certain business tasks. But on the other side, it's really applying AI in product offering and in features. And I think in that sense, we are already reaching, if you look at the current LLM or AI first companies and what they are able to offer, that's mind blowing. Like products that we didn't think would exist, dare to think that they would exist today, are already out there. They're on the market. They're adopted, and I think this will really accelerate innovation. It will accelerate how we can live effectively in large communities, in cities, it will continue to have a positive effect on globalization, etc. So that's one side of the sword. The other side is the faster this goes, the like the effect it has on energy consumption, and on. So first of all, let's zoom in on energy. Like to have AI at a large scale adopted by our global population, it means that data centers will pop up everywhere, and not just small data like giga centers of data centers will be everywhere, and they will consume so much energy that energy will almost be the new currency. It will be the biggest, most valuable element, maybe even in the world. It's not even an element, let's say currency. However, we today already have too little, right? So this is going to be, first of all, a major threat. We need to solve that. We can't solve that on the efficiency side. So we should solve that on the production side. And I think China is doing an amazing job, actually, that in China, a lot of solar is being developed and a lot of solar at large scale is being implemented because we need to produce energy in a more energy efficient way. Um, but okay, so that's going to be a big challenge to solve the whole energy question. And it will fundamentally change the problem of the energy transition. But then next to it, right now, AI still and real AI first businesses are only accessible for, let's say, the 1%.
Yeah.
Investing in AI businesses and being part of the boom that's going is it's only accessible for the 1%. So what we will see is by the rapid growth of AI, it will only continue to have a major polarizing and effect on further extending the gap between the ultra rich and, well, the middle
Yeah.
class and lower of society. And that's a real problem.
Yeah, well, maybe that's where you're gonna head next. It certainly sounds like a hard enough problem to solve there. But it's yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned China because actually I just read somewhere that in 2024 they installed more solar panels than the entire United States in all of our history. So I mean that's pretty incredible what they're doing there.
Yeah, and I've been a couple of times to China and to talk about solar and innovation. And when I was there in 2020, it was still seen by the world as a China is rapidly deploying solar. However, their total use of energy is also still growing, and it's growing faster. By now, it's not. By now, we actually see that the percentage of sustainable energy production of China's total energy production is increasing. So now that they're on that track, it will rapidly grow towards a, well, maybe one day even net zero
Wow.
on energy uh, country. We're not there yet, but they're leapfrogging like hell.
Yeah. And even in electric vehicles, I was reading they're like surpassing Tesla there as well.
As
Um,
well. I think that can happen, right? When you
Definitely.
have
I mean, they already have
more than a billion
people.
people. Um, of course, there are also a lot of challenges there, and I think these challenges are a bit too big to dive into in this podcast. For example, the limited amount of lithium that's available, or other. But I do think with the mass that China has, or the quantity, but over the time, years, also they've evolved the quality of their universities, the quality of their innovations,
Yeah.
etc. That actually they will be more and more part of the solution instead of part of the problem.
Well, that's always good when we have more solutions than problems. So I suppose getting back to you and your career, I see that you also have a lot of these endeavors where you like to give back to the community. You have a summer school, for example, that teaches about green energy, and you're ambassador for International Olympiad Environment. So could you, I suppose, explain these two projects and how you enjoy them?
So could you clarify what type of projects?
I don't know. I thought you had a like a summer school where you teach about green
Yeah.
energy. Yeah, and then the
Yeah.
International Environment Scientific Project Olympiad.
Yeah, those two. Yeah, yeah. I was a bit, and now I get what
Yeah,
you're
no,
referring to.
excuse me. Yeah,
So maybe the first one. So Geste.
yeah,
It's our Geste summer school. Geste stands for Green Energies, Smart Technologies Education. But Geste in Dutch, it also means like gesture. It's a gift. It's so what we have done. I read the book 8 years ago of Malcolm Gladwell. It's called Outliers, and it taught me that the biggest gap in cognitive development between kids from different classes in society initiates to exist during the summer break in when children are between 9 and 12 years old.
really.
Yeah, because that's when, let's say, kids with parents who have a little bit more resources, they go on a summer holiday, they do all kinds of activities, they go to museums, they go to summer camps where they continue to evolve their cognitive skills. And children, of which the parents have less resources during this summer break, are just, I don't know, staying at home, sitting on the couch, watching television, maybe going outside, playing some football or baseball or whatever. But they are not as cognitively challenged by classes where yeah, that's more the standard. So during the whole year, everybody, especially in Europe, gets the same level of education. But
Yeah.
then in the bigger breaks, that's where the difference start to exist. So for me, that was a big, I don't know, insight that I thought, okay, I want to do something during those summer breaks for exactly those kids that still are at, let's say, a similar level, and that if they're triggered in a positive way, are motivated in a positive way, they can still, yeah, develop during these summer breaks as well. So what we've done, we are now organizing summer camps and summer schools for children in different cities in the Netherlands, um, where they learn about the energy transition, they learn about sustainability, they learn about prototyping, but in general, but not only prototyping, but also brainstorming, also pitching, also yeah,
A
like
little bit of startups and
indeed.
entrepreneurship.
So we have actually applied the model of how the lean startup on children and teaching them how to understand conceptual technology. So what we do is in those weeks, we learn them first, yeah, to understand an issue, a problem, then to work together in diverse groups as possible. Someone who's good at math, someone is good at drawing, someone's good at. So we do this diversity um, initiatives, games, and then they make groups, and then they are going to brainstorm. Then they are going to develop a proof of concept. They are going to build it with all kinds of materials and lights and little motors and little solar panels, etc. And then they have to present it and pitch it to an actual jury from the
Pretty cool.
municipality and from the government and from commercial business, etc.
Wow.
And by the end of the week, we hope to, and we've done this now for 7 years in a row. We see actually that these kids continue to be motivated for the rest of the summer. And even they think differently about which level of school to choose. That technology isn't only for the smartest kid in the room, but technology can be for everyone. So we really try to, I don't know, change the perspective on
Yeah.
technology and sustainability. And maybe last, we all do this for free. So it's a foundation. It's the foundation, change the perspective. And we thought, as soon as you ask parents to pay for this, you'll end up with the same kids that are already doing
Yeah.
all kinds of extracurricular activities. So
That's
yeah,
pretty
I hope
amazing.
this really gives you an insight on how my brain works, but how I also think everyone has a certain responsibility that as soon as you I don't know, have a bit of success or you are a bit inspirational, you already start passing on paying it forward instead of waiting until you are, I don't know, uh, how do you say it? If you're like 60 years old,
Yeah.
you go with you get your pension, and then you have your money to spend, and then you contribute to
Oh,
some charities, right? You don't have to
no,
wait
before that,
until,
for
yeah. Why not
retirement or
start when you're young? Yeah, retirement. Why wait with charity till your retirement? Why not start young and small and local and inspire when you still have the connection with the next generation?
yeah, I mean that's really awesome. I mean, I'm thinking I kind of wish we had that program here in America, and especially when I was younger and really into entrepreneurship. But I don't know if you ever
Well,
want to.
help me set it up in Jersey.
I was. If you ever want to branch here in America, I'm your guy to help you. Well, Mr. Grapperhaus, I guess I want to thank you for joining me on the podcast today. It's been really an honor speaking with you, and I've really enjoyed learning about Physee and Nextsense, and
Yeah.
I suppose about how your mind works.
Well, thanks so much. I think you do an amazing job, Danny. And whenever you're in the Netherlands, do reach out, and wish you all the best in the rest of your first school studies and maybe one day entrepreneurial career.
Thank you.